What's up, guys? Good Sunday evening. It's Mason Sapeski, your host. Tonight, we are discussing the Pittsburgh Pirates Week in Review on this episode of the BATTLIN Bucs podcast, where I discuss the prior week for the Pittsburgh Pirates, take a look around the MLB standings, and then we will look ahead to the upcoming week, which all the games are at home, but they're against very competitive teams. So we're going to talk about that, and we'll also talk about some other stuff maybe. So yeah, buckle up for the ride, because here we go. First off, the game on May 28th was postponed against the Detroit Tigers due to rain. So they played a doubleheader on May the 29th. It was both the games against Detroit on the same day, which was nice. Jared Jones and Paul Skeens were the two starters that day for the Pirates. So that was cool to just see them both start the same day. They're the future of this team and the rotation, I believe. And it'll reflect that starting in 2025. Like when Skeens obviously didn't start opening day this year, but he's almost a sure thing to start it in 2025. Then you'll have Keller, then you'll have Jones, maybe that order is vice versa. I don't know if we're going to re-sign Bailey Falter or not here. I'll look and see if he's a free agent, because that's also something you need to start thinking about as the trade deadline is less than 2 months away. We're pretty much like a deferred through this campaign now this season, so that's definitely interesting for sure. We're not that far off from halfway. We'll be halfway in just a mere. But anyway, like the trade deadline, we're a third through the season. We're pretty much already at like the 60 games marker and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely interesting. That is for sure, but that's not a bad thing though, you know. Right now, we will play our 60th game on Tuesday. After this series, we'll have less than 100 games to go. The halfway point is at the end of this month. Like, it's not that far off before we begin the second half of this season. And I mean, just now, like, it kind of felt scary to me just thinking about that. Like, we're already almost halfway through the season. Oh, wow, like, it's already here. I'll count it out for you once we get to the end of it if I remember. So, yeah, that's what I'll do. And, yeah, we'll look and see what we need to do. But anyway, back looking at it, he is not a free agent. Falter is not a free agent. So, I hope the rotation next year to start, if everybody's healthy and all's good, would be Skeens, Jones, Keller, Falter, and hopefully they could get somebody up here, because I don't like these one-year signings. They have not worked out well for this team, and we'll probably dive in more to this another day, but yeah. But yeah, anyway, if anybody was asking, because it is important to talk about this, because the trade deadline is just 4 weeks from today is the end of June. I know it's crazy that June already started and 4 more weeks is the end of the month, but we're like 60 days away from the deadline. As crazy as that sounds. And we just started the season 60 days ago. So it's definitely interesting. But anyway, your free agents are Chapman, Perez, Marco Gonzalez, Michael Taylor, Tellez, Grandal, Baraki, Peralta, Lamb, and Owings. Looking at that list alone, I don't have an appetite to bring back many of those guys, but we'll talk about that closer to the deadline or even in the offseason once the season ends. But I hope that's not anytime soon. But let's take a look at this week, shall we? Because that's what we're supposed to be talking about. On Wednesday, the first game of the doubleheader, I was actually at the movies during this game. I saw a movie called Unsung Hero. It's a very good one. I'd highly recommend it, but it's time to get back on task, talk about the Pirates actually for once. Pirates lost to the Tigers 8-0. Probably a good thing I went to the movies then, but anyway, though, yeah, we lost 8-0. That was definitely unfortunate. That's for sure. I mean, you can't allow 8 runs and score none, especially when Jared Jones is on the mound. I mean, definitely just an unfortunate loss, you know. Got to be better than that, especially hitting. And pitching, too, because, I mean, that's your absolute, like, sucker of a loss. Because 8 runs is a lot. That's an indictment on the pitching. 0 runs is nothing, and it's indictment on the hitting. So that was just a crappy game. Pirates rebounded, though, and did the exact opposite, winning 10-2 over the Tigers the second game. Offense really clicked. Skeens pitched another amazing game, so That was definitely fun to see, that's for sure. I can't wait to see him pitch this week against the Dodgers. That's good. Or is he pitching? I think so, yeah. That's going to be awesome to see him pitch against them. I just want to see what he does. So, yeah, definitely will keep an eye on that for sure. But Pirates beat the Tigers 10-2. This is how you win games. You play hard, you do well. So I was happy about this one for sure. We split the series with Detroit. In Detroit, that's all you could really ask for. I was very pleased by this. So great series there for the Pirates. Friday night, the team went up north to Toronto and played and lost in the longest game of the MLB regular season thus far, losing 14 in 14 innings by a final of 5-3 to the Toronto Blue Jays. Definitely a tough loss, that's for sure. I mean, we had multiple opportunities, and we needed to just close the game out. We failed to do so. And then Toronto took advantage of the opportunity that they were given, and they made the most of it, and they won. So credit to the Blue Jays. We had opportunities again, and we failed. So that was definitely disappointing, that's for sure. So that's what I have to say about that. I mean, you can't lose games like that. That game was right in our hands. We really sort of swept this week, and we failed to do that. And that's upsetting, and that's going to kill us in the long run. It really is. So I was upset about that game on Friday because I thought we played well. I thought Falter did well, and definitely should have won that one, but we didn't win, and that's disappointing. Saturday, the Pirates played the Blue Jays and went into Toronto and won by a final score of 8-1 over the Jays. That was awesome for sure. Mitch Keller, never really good outing by him. And the offense actually clicked for once, which was also very impressive. So I was glad to see that there. So that was definitely good, definitely interesting. That's for sure. I thought we played well. I did. I mean, that was a good win. You needed that one, and you got it. And they opened up the rubber mats for today. So that was definitely a positive thing, that's for sure. So good win for sure. Really like the way we played. Today was a sucker. I mean, today was very, very disappointing to me. This was, in my opinion, the biggest game of the year, because if we would have won, we could have really, really, really gained some momentum coming into this homestand. We failed to win. We lost 5-4 at the hands of the Blue Jays. This was definitely a tough loss. Very upset about this one. We had this one too. Priester was doing really well. Then we blew it, and our old pal, Daniel Vogelbach, actually had a hit, and big double that gave Toronto the lead, and they kept that lead. So credit to the Blue Jays. So that's what you got to look at in the grand scheme of things. Great job by Toronto there, and we got to be better. We have got to be better. 2-3 on this trip wasn't good enough. We should have been 4-1. I thought we did good enough Friday night to win, and I thought we played good enough today to win. However, we just made the stupid little things that greatly cost us. And why is it the players offensively and defensively are doing better than the minors than they are the majors? Henry Davis, Quinn Priester, Ji-Hwan Bae, Nick Gonzalez. That's an indictment on the coaching staff. And that proves that Derek Selton should not be our manager in 2025. Unless we get into the playoffs and make a deep run. That's the only reason I'm rolling with him. And don't get me wrong, I'm not somebody that just says fire people for the heck of it. You have to have a valid reason to be fired, in my opinion. But Derek Selton has not done his job over the course of 4 or 5 years. And that's not good enough. We deserve better. And I think, sorry, I'm getting tired. Gonna go to bed here pretty soon, actually. But we need a better manager to lead our ball club, the Pirates. So that's what I think. Your thoughts, if you have any. Let's talk about Tellez did good. I mean, that's the one other thing I wanted to say. Rowdy Tellez did good. If he gets DFA'd or cut or even booed, it should not be because of this game. He literally was the only thing going positive, I feel like, today, except for maybe Priester. He did okay, but don't blame Teles for this one. Just don't. He has stunk this year, and I think he should have been long gone from this roster. But at the same time, don't go blaming him again for this game. Just don't. Oh, wow. Cardinals won in 10 innings tonight against the Phillies. They won 5-4. I was just checking the scores real quick. Wanted to see the Phillies score. And that brings us on actually to our next segment. And that's the segment where we're going to look over the standings for the MLB following the conclusion of games this week. First off, the AL East. Oh, hang on a minute. Wow. What I just said wow about is the Phillies no longer have the best record in the MLB. That mark now belongs to the New York Yankees, who I'm actually just going to read off here when we go for our stuff. But the Yankees now hold the best record in baseball, so that's definitely an interesting tidbit. Anyway, let's start off now by looking at the AL East with our standings check. The best team in baseball, the New York Yankees, lead that division with a 42-19 record. Second place are the Orioles. They're 37-20. They're 3 games back. Third place, the 30-30 Red Sox, 11.5 back. Fourth place, you got the Rays, 29-31, 12.5 back. And in last place, you got the Blue Jays, 28-30, 12.5 back. AL Central time, the Cleveland Guardians, they're 39-20 on top of that division, playing really well. Royals, you're 36-25, you're 4 games back. Twins are 33-26, they're 6 games back. Tigers are 29-30, they're 10 games back. White Sox, you guys are 15-45. Unfortunately, you are 24.5 games back. AL West time, we got the Mariners. They're 34-27. They're on top of the division. Rangers are 29-30. You're 4 games back. Astros are 26-34, 7.5 back. A's are 24-37, 10 games back. The Angels are 21-38. They're 12 games back. On to the NL East. Philadelphia Phillies, they're still on top of the division, though, which is in the NL, which is really all that matters right now. They're 41-19, and on top of that, Braves, you're 33-24, 6.5 games back. Nationals, 27-31, actually doing somewhat okay, 13 back. Mets, 24-35, 16.5 back. Marlins, 21-39, 20 back. NL Central, Brewers, you're 36-23, you're on top of the division. Cardinals, you're 28-29, 7 games back. Cubs, you're 29-31, 7.5 back. Pirates, 27-32, 9 back. And the Reds are 26-33, 10 back. And on West time, we got the Dodgers, 38-23, they're running the division. Padres, you're 32-30, you're 6.5 back. Giants, you're 29-31, 8.5 back. Diamondbacks are 27-32, 10 games back. And in last place are the Rockies, 21-37, 15.5 games back. Now it's on time to the wild card. So right now your wild card matchups would be the 6th-seeded Minnesota Twins and the 3rd-seeded Seattle Mariners. Your 5th-seeded Kansas City Royals and your 4th-seeded Baltimore Orioles. The 2 seed would be the Guardians and the 1 seed would be the Yankees. Both those teams would get buys. The Red Sox are 3.5 games back of that last wild card. Tigers 4, Rangers 4, Rays 4.5, Blue Jays 4.5, Astros 7.5, A's 10, Angels 12, White Sox 18.5 back. So really, I mean, there's only 3 teams that are pretty much done, I feel like. The White Sox, the Angels, and the A's, they're going nowhere this year. The Astros, I can't really say that yet about them. Once we get further in, like closer to the All-Star break, if they're like 5 to 10 games back or even over 10 games back, I might say they're not going anywhere this year, but it's too early to tell with them because they have the roster to do it for sure. And then definitely these teams. I went today and looked at last year at this time which teams were in the playoffs if it would have ended today. For the AL, it was the same exact field, except Boston was in it and Toronto was outside of it. For the NL, it was the same exact field, except Pirates, we were in, and Philly was outside. So really, this field might really only differ by 1 team. So it's safe to say that the Yankees are probably going to the playoffs. Same with Cleveland. They're probably going to the playoffs. Baltimore's probably going. Kansas City might go, but I could see them easily collapsing. Same with Seattle and Minnesota. But the one team that I could really see is Texas. I mean, there's not going to be a playoffs this year where Texas, Tampa, Toronto, and Houston all make it. I don't see that happening. But I think Texas has a possibility of getting firmly back into this. To be honest, I don't think Houston makes it. I don't think Toronto makes it. I don't think Tampa makes it. But Texas, I can see them definitely making it. So it'll be interesting, for sure. On to the National League now. The 1 seed is the Philadelphia Phillies. They would get a bye. 2 seed Los Angeles Dodgers also getting a bye. The 6 seed would surprisingly be the St. Louis Cardinals, and they would travel to Milwaukee to take on the 3-seeded Brewers. So that would be interesting. Your 5th seed would be the San Diego Padres, and they would take on the 4-seed Atlanta Braves. And then we got a little bit of a logjam here because the Cardinals only are below 500. And they only hold a half-game lead over the Cubs and the Giants. So it's not looking good for the NL. Like, there's a ton of teams, tons of teams that are literally right in the middle of this. And I'm going to read you this here. It's interesting. Chicago, a half game back. San Francisco, a half game back. Washington, a game and a half back. Arizona, 2 back. Pittsburgh, 2 back. Cincinnati, 3 back. Mets, 5 back. Colorado, 7.5 back. Miami, 8.5 back. Really just Colorado and Miami and possibly the Mets. No, I'm not saying the Mets yet, but Colorado and Miami are the only 2 teams there I can say for a fact are not going to the playoffs. Any of these teams could get on a run and get in there. So I think there's a lot of fluctuation. Philly is definitely going, I feel like. Dodgers are definitely going. Milwaukee is definitely going. Those are probably your free division winners right there. Atlanta's definitely going. San Diego might be going. Probably is. St. Louis, I don't know. But there's like a logjam here. It's tough to say. It's much easier to say in the American League. And I feel like the American League is much stronger right now, for sure. But those are your standing. That's your standings update from me on that. Now it's time to move into the week ahead. The Pirates right now stand... Here, let me type it in. It's always fun playing the Dodgers. I'm excited for this week. That's going to be awesome. Especially this time of year, so that's definitely cool. Pirates are 27-32. That's 59 games. At the conclusion of this week, or the Dodger series, we'll have played 62 games with 100 to go. Once Friday night's game against Minnesota concludes, we'll only have 99. We'll have less than 100 games left. 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. Once we finish Friday, June 28th game against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, we'll officially be halfway. 96 games will have been played before the All-Star break, so we'll be well on our way to halfway. So I feel like at the deadline, it should be pretty much firm. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I can't believe 3 weeks from Friday night, it's already halfway through the year. That's crazy. Unbelievable. So, yeah, let me know what you think about that for sure. Anyway, looking at the week ahead, it's definitely going to be an interesting week for sure. 3 games against the Dodgers, Tuesday, June 4th at 6:30 at PNC Park. Wednesday, June the 5th, 6:40 p.m. And then Thursday at 6:40 p.m. There's no afternoon game against them. It's just evening games, which is interesting for sure. But all those are 6:40 starts. Friday, June 7th against Twins, 6:40. Saturday at 4:05 against Minnesota. And then Sunday at 1:35 against Minnesota. So it's going to be a tough week for sure. Ideally, look, I'm just looking up something real quick to see the pitchers. we'll go for that when I'm done talking about this. But look, ideally, I'd like to take 3 out of these 6. We played better against better teams. Everybody knows that. And we've won the past 2 home series in 22 and 23 against the Dodgers. So I think we'll take 2 out of 3 against them this year. It just came up, Connor McDavid Oilers defeat Stars 2-1 in Game 6. So Oilers Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final. That'll definitely be interesting. That's for sure. That just came across my ESPN. So sorry to interrupt you guys about that. Credit to ESPN there for that. But if we could take 1 from these Twins, even 2 would be great. If we could take 2 from the Dodgers and 1 from the Twins, I'd be thrilled. 3 and 3 would be great. However, I think we'll do better, and I think we might win. However, I kind of have a feeling we'll win 4. But anyway, let's look at pitchers now. The goal should be to win 3, but 4 would be great. Tyler Glasnow against Jared Jones Tuesday night. That'll be epic. James Paxton against Paul Skeens Wednesday night. That will be amazing. Because Paxton's 5-0 with a 3.29. Skeens is 2-0 with a 2.45 ERA. Glasnow is a 3.04. Jones is a 3.55. Those 2 will pitch Tuesday night. On Thursday, you'll get Walker Buehler against Bailey Falter. That's another really good matchup. So we got 3 good matchups pitching-wise here. That'll be a fun series this week for sure. I can't wait. Joe Ryan against Mitch Keller. That's Friday night, likely. Saturday night, Simon Woods Richardson against Quinn Priester. That'll be interesting on Saturday night. And then Sunday will be Jared Jones for Pittsburgh and Bailey Ober for the Twins. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video for sure. We will be back at it next Sunday night to recap these series and look ahead to the week ahead. So that'll definitely be interesting. That's for sure. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoy. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, peace. We'll see you next week.